All right, get my screen up here. Okay, hi everyone. This is a crash course in how to teach yourself data analytics. And I added the subtitle here from zero to pretty good, fast-ish, because I don't like to overpromise. But I do think what I'll describe is something like the shortest path to a really good foundation. I'm Samuel Shoun. I'm a petroleum engineer. I've worked in oil and gas for about 15 years total, mostly in reservoir engineering, which is one of the more data intensive subdisciplines of petroleum, and especially in the last few years has been increasingly analytics focused. As the last year and a half or so, I've been working as a consultant doing data analytics and project management for multiple industries. In general, I'm a huge fan of distance learning, of self-teaching, kind of modern education methods, and I've been slowly working my way through the freeCodeCamp certifications, or at least that's my goal is to collect them all. I thought this topic might be of interest to people learning to code or coming to freeCodeCamp with an interest in data analytics, but without much STEM background. Or, yeah, you're not seeing it? Uh-oh. Let me try to reshare real quick. Apologize for that. Okay. How's this? Okay, now we're up and running. So I thought this might appeal to people interested in data analytics, but without much STEM background, or to people a lot like myself who had some STEM training in their background, but maybe didn't retain particular topics especially well, like calculus or linear algebra. At a certain point in my career, when my analytics focus really started to take off, I had to reteach myself a lot of these things. Almost from the beginning. And what I'll share with you is a lot of the resources that I used to do that. Okay. All businesses, really, traditional industries and tech alike, seem to be increasingly analytics focused, data focused. And so I think in general, data analytics skill building is a worthy pursuit, even if it's not your dedicated role. Maybe the data science or data analytics is an adjacent function to what you do in an organization. But it's great to be able to speak their language and have some ability to navigate their methods. In particular, if you're pursuing data analytics skill building, and say you go out and just sign up for like a Udemy course in data science or something like that, they tend to be kind of constrained by the assumption of common knowledge level with the underlying math. Um, and of course, they want to make these online courses palatable to everyone, and for good reason. But at the same time, it can kind of hold you back in developing kind of a full set of data analytics skills. So the solution for that I'll talk about, I think, will allow you to get a lot more out of those online courses. And the other constraint seems to be more advanced coding and computer science. And I'm of no help to you there. So I don't know that stuff yet. It's part of the reason I do freeCodeCamp. I'll talk about three domains of focus with data analytics: the tech, the technology, the math, and the business. And the goal here is to point to how to develop a good foundation in all three by self-teaching and mostly for free. So the place I'm starting is with the tech. freeCodeCamp fortunately has three excellent courses on Python in their core curriculum. And Python is probably most widely agreed upon as the go-to for data analytics. I think if you get through these three courses, you'll have a really solid grasp on the role that Python is likely to play in your data analytics tool set. Um, and so I kind of outlined those in red as kind of like, there's your minimum viable product, so to speak. I added some stuff at the right that I think is a really good way to augment what you learn from freeCodeCamp. Um, I think generally the more SQL you know is probably better, and they touch on it in the freeCodeCamp courses, but they don't go into much depth. Everywhere that I've worked for the last 10 years has had SQL sort of as their main database, their main their query language, and fortunately, the same guy that teaches scientific computing in freeCodeCamp has a really good SQL course on his YouTube channel. So you'll be familiar with the format and the instructor and stuff if you've already been through scientific computing. Another one for more Python is Corey Schaefer. This guy's got a really popular YouTube channel, and it's a great place to learn more stuff about Python, all kinds of topics, and all of them relevant to data analytics, particularly pandas and matplotlib. Those are very useful Python libraries that you can learn in pretty good depth from that resource. Stats models is another good library to pick up at some point. I don't have a favorite resource for that, really. There's a lot of great ones around the web, and I kind of switch around between a lot of them. So I talked about the tech first, but I really think the math is the core learning here. And I get that feedback from people in the field too that are, in data science roles, data analyst roles. That it's always good to focus on not just the tools that you're using, but the underlying mechanics that the tools are using to produce results. And so I outlined this sort of Khan Academy math stack. And if you went to high school in the last 10 years, I'm sure you're familiar with Khan Academy. If you're not, it's free. It's excellent. It's a really great resource. The cool thing about it is that if you're coming to this from a background that's not especially mathy, this might look daunting, but I really want to emphasize that if learning math is the thing holding you back from data analytics, don't let it be. You can get on Khan Academy and if you're not ready for calculus, you can go take the Get Ready for Calculus course. You can go all the way back to like Count the Ducks, which is maybe something I'll review soon. I might need that. But the early focus, I think, is statistics and probability. So I kind of double circled that one. You'll have to be pretty good with that. And then the rest of them, I kind of labeled like good as ongoing learning. I think you'll get way more out of your machine learning courses if you cover some of these topics, even if you just get the basics in each one. Yeah, and by the way, for calculus, I actually think the best way to learn that is from this book. This is an extremely concise self-teaching guide that is about 200 pages long. It reads nothing like a textbook. It's really easy to follow along with, and I think most people, if you're decent with algebra, you can go through this in a few days with relative ease. And it's not free, but it's $15 on Amazon, so it's cheap. And then I also mentioned this econometrics course on Coursera from Erasmus University. That's just kind of like if you're like me and you really like econometrics and that approach to modeling. And the business aspect, you don't always hear that talked about in the context of data analytics, but that I include it because the data is only valuable, the analysis is only valuable if we connect it to sort of the framework of how that organization measures value. And if you're in the for-profit space, if you're in business, that's going to have something to do with corporate finance. And I like this book. It's really easy read. It's short. It's $18, and it's a good way to rapidly come up to the sort of the lexicon of corporate finance and start speaking that language. As a generality, I recommend sort of an ongoing study of cash flow analysis, and it's all over the internet for free. A lot of good places, investopedia.com, etc. And I put that up here because it's been a key differentiator for me, I think, throughout my career. It's been very useful for me to be able to say, hey, I've got this statistical model and it forecasts your sales volumes for the coming months, but it also imputes fixed and variable costs and returns present value and rate of return. So you're speaking the language of the top levels of the organization there. So that's a really useful lexicon to have. Okay, so the too long didn't read version is freeCodeCamp Python plus this Khan Academy math sequence is awesome. I kind of did the match made in heaven slide here. It's cheesy. But essentially, I think that's a great pathway to a very good foundation for data analytics. The roadmap, and when I'm learning something new, I'm always looking for a roadmap or some sort of organized approach. And I kind of wrestled with that idea for data analytics and came to the conclusion that there's really not one. The key thing, I think, is that you study these topics in an order that keeps you interested in improving, and you'll be on a great path. And with that, I'd like to say thanks to freeCodeCamp Oklahoma and to Techlahoma, and thank you for listening.
Awesome, thank you. We have had a couple of requests for links to those courses and things that you mentioned, so we'd love if you would post those in Slack, either in the Free Code Camp channel or whatever makes sense. But definitely want to get those. So